Come get your money. PayLake Carp fishing with Donald Barrow. Hey, hello everybody. This is Donald Barrow. As always, Wicket flavorings, Pig Flippers pickups, and uh, Mud Pigs. He makes great hooks, setups, and he's got the coolest alarm. No, not alarm. Indicators. They're kind of a plastic indicator that you slide your line out. You see those guys using foam. If you're using foam, you need to check this out because these are better. You don't lose them. They hook on much better. Glow in the dark if you charge them with your flashlight. Uh, he just made some bigger ones. I suspect when I used them, they were great in the daytime, but they were tough for an old guy like me to use. So he made bigger ones, and they're going to sell out like hotcakes. He doesn't really need to promote, but Thomas is a great guy. So I just wanted to get that in. But what am I doing today? Um, I I met a guy online, one of our through Wicketed, or I post a lot of stuff everywhere. Not sure where he saw me at, or just maybe YouTube. And he was telling me about how he makes rice with liquor, malt liquor. And I had not heard that before. And I swore off rice this year for no other reason is it become a comfort food for me. I will use rice on a normal year from about April to, I've used it to November, December, early December. I'm a rice guy. I've been a rice guy. And none of the other things, none of the other baits I would call myself that great. Of course, chow, and I use a lot of bean depending on the lake, but my standard even in Buffalo Lakes was to throw rice and throw something else. And so you're wondering why I have so many bait recipes. Yeah, I always throw something else, but I always have rice as my primary. And often we allow 5 rods at a lot of lakes over in the Piedmont, North Carolina. 5 rods with rice on it by the end of the night. I would start with 5, then I would throw off a few that aren't catching, and I would put bean on it, oats on it, grits. But I was a rice guy. Well, this year I kind of said, I'm not going to be a rice guy. I'm going to try and when I say that, I mean when you make something your primary bait, you work hard at finding the advantage. What flavor works right? What recipe works right? Uh, whether your grits or oats, all these can get you through the summer. And a lot of times it's depending on the lake and what they're pulling. But even if they're like it's an oats lake, you can get them to pull millet, you can get them to pull rice, and you can get them to pull grit, sunchow, of course, and bean if you know what you're doing and you're confident. And I truly believe that. The guys who win a lot are confident in their bait, and you're not going to convince them to step off it. Uh, I say that, but I always look around. I have baits ready so I can turn on a dime if that night everybody's on oats and it's working. I'm on oats. Now everybody may be on oats and I'll be on rice. No problem with that. In fact, I love it. But here we go. I got a recipe. This recipe came from JD Drake, and it just so happens he's a professional wrestler, and he flies around all week. He fishes uh, days on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in South Carolina. Look him up. I'm not going to argue with the guy. He's huge, you know. And if you don't have good luck with this, take it off with him. But this was too good to not try. And by the time you see this, I will have tried it. I'm not gonna. I just put out a video about black pack, and I want that to make the rounds before I put this one out. But step one is to get it making, and uh, let's see. The recipe called for 64 ounces or 72 ounces of rice and 64 ounces of malt liquor. I gotta be honest, I'm cutting it in half. So, JD, if you're saying, what the hell, Donald, you know, I'm cutting it in half. So I went with 32 ounces and I warmed this 32 ounces and there was some foam and I see it's not 32 ounces anymore, so I missed a little, so I'll add a little. I warmed this beer for 2 minutes in the micro. It's not steaming hot, but I do think if you use warm fluids in rice, I kind of discovered it mixes better, especially if you're going to do it this way. If you're going to, again, malt liquor. Funny, you can't buy malt liquor where they sell beer like in grocery stores. I don't know if too strong or whatever it is, so you got to go find it at a convenience store. I did not know that. I should have known that, but it is what it is. Okay, so I got 32 ounces of beer. I got a heaping cup and a little extra of salt. I don't think salt, ooh, this is why I flunked chemistry, and I knew this. You throw salt in the beer, it foams up. Actually, I remember when I used to drink, you put salt in to cut down on the foam, but I got a full beaker here of beer, so it's kind of funny. I'm gonna leave that in. You know, if I had this huge ego, I'd probably leave that out, but I don't. I'm gonna throw in some grape Kool-Aid, or I'm sorry, grape Jello. I normally put in 2 packets for 28 ounces, or 27 ounces. So I'm gonna go with 2.5 packets. These are 3-ounce packets of Jello. And I'll tell you what you do in it. This is sugar, flavored sugar. Does it have to be grape? No. Even if I'm making a grape flavor, you can use other flavors. I will say though, when you check the bar, this flavor does float up and contribute a lot to your pack bait, your bar, or your pile, or whatever you want to call it. And so if you're using grape flavor, it makes sense. I threw in all three. It doesn't matter. I'm doing it for the sugar. I have no idea how much sugar is in this beer. I don't expect a lot. And quite frankly, when you use soda, that's the reason you don't have to use sugar. You just count on Jello because the soda has sugar in it. I got to be careful stirring this. If I wasn't on camera, I would dump this into, and I probably will, I'll dump it into the bucket, and that way I can stir it up better. That's a better plan, so we'll just make that on the fly, so I don't spill this all over and look the bigger fool. So we'll dump this in. And I'll be honest, I used to dump my liquid over the rice, but it just made more sense to me. And I used to do this. I was told about this, and I did it with my grits mainly, is if you pour the liquid directly over, you're not getting an even mix like you do if you pour the liquid. If you pour this liquid in and pour it over the rice. And I'm not saying it's making a big difference. Hell, I made it just as I described, where I would pour all my ingredients into the bucket over all the dry over the rice, and then I would just pour the liquid over it. And I made it for years that way, and it works great. But I will tell you, it works better this way. And that's, I've been testing this way for a while. And when I say it works better, the end product, one, it's ready sooner because I warmed the water, I warmed the soda, and now that's why I warmed the beer. And two, I'm getting a great mix. You know, my salt, my sugar. So when I throw my rice in and mix it, uh, I'm going to know that it's evenly distributed amongst all the rice, and it'll pack better. Um, I'm going to put this all into one video. I sure the heck hope I don't have to make two videos. And the reason I do that is it's simply I hate it when somebody says like and subscribe for the second part. It feels like a ripoff. I gotta be quick. I'm running out of power. I was gonna make red magic. I think this Carp Master Dre's recipe for his rice, and it's a good one. He uses ketchup and vinegar to cut the ketchup smell, and uh, I'm gonna make it his way with this red magic. And I thought of throwing it in here, but then I said, nah, let's do the justice. His recipe is ketchup, and unless he tells me different, I'll make it that way in another video. So I said, what do I do? Well, I got this also. They make red magic and they make blue magic. I've never heard of blue magic, uh, but you know, it's a grape. It's a different smelling grape. Yeah, it's a strong smelling, different. I don't know how to describe it. You got to buy it and test it out. But I'm going to make my normal. I'll do 6. I did 6 caps. I do from 4 to 7 caps. I had no idea. Probably should have shook this a little harder. But we're using Wicked. And I said it right. Hey, cool. Wicked. I got to say that. I always screw it up. Wicked uh, Blue Magic. I'm going to stir it up and I'll show you the results. Oh, quickly, I took out 10 ounces. So I've got the 32 ounces in a big box. You can use any store brand. And the reason I'm using the national brand is quite frankly, it was on sale. So that's always the best one to use. You know, so you got the big box and 32 ounces of rice. You know, I'm going to do a mix and throw the lid on, and I'll probably come back 24 hours later and see. Now, this will be interesting. You're like, what else is there to see? You know, he'll break it up and throw it. But JD uses a technique I've not heard of, and I'm going to show you what it is and when I get back. Thank you, everybody. Hey, I'm back, hopefully with a seamless transition. 24 hours later. And I got to tell you, 24 hours makes a heck of a difference. I ended that video, the first part, just like, hopefully you don't even know when I ended it, but 24 hours ago, I was running out of battery and I poured in Wicked Blue Magic. And I thought it was going to be a grape. To be honest, I didn't check. Uh, it's not a grape, it's a cinnamon. Cinnamon and a lot of other goodness. Uh, Ron Matthews, the owner, is really on top of his game when it comes to flavors. And you're saying, well, Donald, you fish for Wicked. Obviously, you got a shirt behind you. You're on the team. You know, uh, I would be using this stuff if I wasn't. In fact, maybe that's why I was buying so much of it. Um, that it was a no-brainer. Uh, I love the test. I've been writing comparison videos for a few years, and this is going to be cool because I wasn't expecting this. I was really just wanted to test this recipe that I got from JD Drake, and he had me at Malt Liquor. But I got to tell you one other thing that got me very curious is JD uses a hand mixer to fluff his rice. And I kind of blew it. 12 hours later, I woke up, and it's probably 10 hours. And I opened it up because I had to see, yeah, what I did from yesterday. And it was set up, and that would have been the perfect time to fluff it up. So I reached in like I always do and fluffed it with my hand. It was a little wet and I was expecting it not to be so wet, but I waited till after work, another 8 hours later, and it was perfect. I packed a ball. And I said, man, I really don't need to use this mixer, but I'm going to use it anyways. And I'm not going to lie, I've already tested it because I didn't know if it was going to come flying out of the bucket and I'd have another blooper reel or add to my blooper reel. But there's plenty to, I don't need the extra footage. I packed a ball and I put a pickup in it. Uh, wait, I'm going to wait so you can see that better. Um, all I'm doing, no, I don't know if this is showing up, is it fluffs up. I was concerned it was going to chop up the rice, but this rice is soaked in. And JD says if it does chop up the rice, it still packs insane. And you know what it does? Uh, yeah, this puffing it this way is kind of cool. But I reached in and I can tell you this is going to pack. Um, I'm not fishing till Saturday. It's Thursday night. Should have wet my hand, you know, and but we're good to go. Uh, I have no concerns that this is going to throw. It's going to throw well. I like the texture. I like the feel. Now my hands are wet. I can pack this. This ball goes to any rope with no problem. I can just tell, but you can just tell it's dense. It feels great. I like my rice. This was the alternative using beer, and I'm excited to use it. Uh, to be honest, the blue magic's going to ruin everything because uh, a perfect bake-off would be um, uh, a not so popular flavor. I don't know, pick one. Butternut. Butternut's either a win or a loss. But to make butternut the way I make it, and then to make it with beer, and then throw it and see which one does better. The problem I'm going to have here is this beer recipe. Well, I'll tell you, doesn't matter. If it's consistent and you can make it this way, it's still fast. It's not that expensive. All the expenses are the same, but instead of using a $2 bottle of soda like strawberry that you find, you know, Fanta or whatever store brand that has sugar in it, uh, you're using a $3 bottle of the cheapest malt liquor you can find. So for $1 more, I'd like to know what the malt liquor brings to it, but I do and I don't because right now all I smell is the wicketed flavor. You know, if there is some alcohol remnants, that'd be great. I don't think there's going to be. I think ultimately using this recipe, you're going to get a great ball. And if it breaks, then we're done. Like I said, I made this ball. I had to go to the garbage I didn't have any plain pickups. And I learned last time not to use pig flippers because that would fill the bottom column with flavor because they bleed and they do an awesome job. But I can tell you I'm getting bubbles and it's breaking. I don't know. Let me bend the camera a little. If you see that, I think you can now. Uh, I threw that ball in there. I should have gave you a time clock. Uh, it's been about 20 seconds. I see it bubbling and I see the rice breaking. And again, I overpacked this. I gave this a heavy pack and I got bubbles. So my partner Tom told me my black pack is breaking down too fast. 30 seconds is no good. He likes 2 to 3 minutes. Uh, I see this breaking up maybe a little faster than that, but I think it's going to probably be spot on. And this is as hard as I'd ever pack a bait. Uh, I didn't want to be embarrassed on camera and packing a bait, especially I made a video how to pack bait, so that wouldn't be good. But if you're seeing what I'm seeing, it's breaking. It's breaking. Uh, I'd say at a medium rate. Uh, I don't think there's going to be any problems here. But let's see. Watch it. You know, the first time I don't test it, nah, I'm still getting bubbles. Yeah. Uh, so those bubbles means it's breaking. If it breaks anywhere under 5 minutes, I think you're good. Again, I like it to break faster. Other people don't. Uh, but to be honest, 5 minutes isn't nothing when you're tossing lines out for an hour. And honestly, you need a little time because if you're working with 5 rods, you're baiting the rods, and especially if you're fishing alone. The worst thing is you got your hands in the bait, or you know, and you got your rod in your hand. You're just about ready to bring it over and put it up on the stand, and the rod you just put out goes off. It's not the worst thing, but it's it's like you know. But yeah, we're breaking. Uh, I'm looking at this, and it's gonna be, you know, I don't know, 3 4 minutes, and we're gonna see the ball pop out, and already the water column is blue. I think you can see that because it might be hard to see the ball because um, yeah. One thing though, I'm wearing a barbecue competition T-shirt, and I did the math. I haven't competed in about 7 years. COVID and carp fishing got in the way, and I had to make a choice, and I chose carp fishing. I did pretty well barbecuing, and I enjoy it. I just don't do the competitions. If you do a competition, uh, yeah, your time is consumed with getting the product and getting there on Friday, cooking all night, and then Saturday putting the food out and waiting for the judging. And they have the judge, and it's usually done by noon, but they don't announce anything till 3 4 o'clock. So it's a all day. Can't run to the lake. Up there it goes. My bait just broke, uh, broke in two, uh, and the pickup's out. I want to say that was a good 3 4 minutes, and that's perfect. And I wet my hands, and that was a tight ball pack bait. So yeah, it does everything I want in a rice bait. Uh, oh, why I brought up the barbecue? I got off on a tangent. I got a new table, and my wife pointed out how wiggly my black pack bait video. Well, to go behind the curtains, I have a stool, and then I put up a TV tray, and that's what I was using because it was the right height. And then it occurred to me back when I barbecue competition, I had a table that was the right height. And so a couple hours of digging out from my garage to find it, and another half hour of cleaning it. And I have a table that I can keep up here. So I'm pretty happy about that. I got the lights high enough, hopefully, to take out the shadow. I got to be honest, I started this video, uh, part two, 3 hours or 2 hours ago, and distractions. This is about the third take, and the lights changed. And the light's important to me. It's not that important, but uh, I like to get it right. One on the back T-shirt and one on my face, which is turned away for some reason. So okay, probably want it kept that way. Who wants to see me? Bottom line, I think I bent this down. I'll bend it back up, and you will not see this video till Monday because the next step is I'm going to fish with it and give you a report. Uh, I'm excited. I'm hoping good things. Over the weekend, we're going to fish with the black pack, and we're going to fish with this, and hopefully nothing else, because this is going. One of the two is going to work great. Yeah, I hope it's both. Thank you. Hey guys, this is Monday afternoon, and I fished with this bait uh, Saturday night. You can see it packs. Oh, they're up. I love the flavor. This was Blue Magic. Uh, I don't know. I think it's new. Maybe somebody's used it before, but I was impressed. Like I said, it's a cinnamon-based flavor in my last update. And how'd I do Saturday night? Uh, I stomped them early. I think I caught the first two fish, and I had four fish within an hour and a half. Who was doing great. Um, I made two mistakes with it. One, I think I put too much sugar in it. I used 3 packs of Jello grape, and I can still see it's a little sticky for my liking. Um, it was difficult to pack, but it wasn't the extra sugar. Um, the second mistake I made is I left the bucket in the back of the truck, and we had over 70% humidity, which I think gets what the weather guy said. But I know what to believe. It was felt like 105 is what they said. It was 95 degrees, and I gotta be honest, it was the hottest I'd ever been. And I fish every summer for 6, 7 years, yeah, a lot of years. Uh, it was hot. It was ridiculously hot, and I started to throw in this, and I started having trouble packing. Uh, Not real bad, but I had one of the farthest spots on the lake. And I was also testing my black pack. And if you follow my videos, I put a lot into that black pack. I mean, I've been trying to find and source the stuff. I had the idea probably a year ago. And so I caught one fish on it, a buffalo, right off the bat. With, well, actually, no, I didn't catch it right off the bat. I was catching them with this rice, and I was throwing half rice and half black pack. But then I changed up and started spraying the black pack, and next thing you know, I caught a buffalo right off the bat, and I was like all in because I had so much into it. I really didn't give the rice much after that. In fact, I didn't give it any. I was like, I'm saving this to another day, probably next weekend. Uh, and it's cooled down and it's packing great. I'm gonna stir it again with the mixer, and I have no questions. It still feels pretty good. You can pack it. Uh, just to be honest, once I caught that one fish on black pack, um, I just really wanted to give that a run. I know this is rice. Making it this way with malt liquor, JD Drake's way, is awesome. It worked great. Uh, like I explained, I think it's maybe cost me $1 more. And his method, uh, I don't think another thing I did is when I got doing the math, I think I put in 32 ounces of rice at first and 32 ounces of malt liquor, but his recipe was for 72 ounces, 64 ounces of malt liquor. And I said, 32 isn't half of 72. I need, what do I need? I need like 36 ounces of rice. Uh, yeah, I needed, so I threw in some extra rice and made up the difference. Like I said, it turned out great. I would probably opt for 2 3-ounce packs of Jello, not three. It's maybe probably the only thing I would do different. But it's pretty awesome as it is. And I already held this up, but real impressed with this Blue Magic. Uh, it's 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 great. I'm anxious to use that in other, uh, maybe millet, maybe. I don't think I'll use it in grits because I'm so happy with the marshmallow and the cotton candy. it'd probably make a real good oats candidate. Probably, I know it would. So I just wanted to give you an update. I think the total was just 4 fish in a little under 2 hours. Uh, in baking heat weather, and compared to the rest of the lake, I was on fire, and I don't think anybody at that time, when I gave up on the oats, had more than one